Let's wait till I get them started. Ready for the start. Off and racing. Get away smartly on the inside. Bell tries to make the whole shot. Gets caught one wide. Up on the inside. Plate number 3, Troy Doran. There's Bell on the outside. Baubles slightly, but he'll get back on the inside and takes the lead from dead last. Position number 6. And Kim Ashkenazi has got some work to do. He splits 2 riders and tries to get into the pace, but it'll be Glenn Bell leading from Troy Doran onto the back straight. 22. One back behind him is Phil Sargent from Orange. All over the place, but Bell is setting the pace, and it is a cracker as they go through the bottom corner. It's on for second, though, let me tell you. Moving up on the inside, Troy Doran. Doran able to hold that second spot. Back behind him on 22 is Phil Sargent. Then Sean Kalos, who can't get a break at this. He's trying to separate a couple of them, but hasn't been able to do anything. Kim Ashkenazi sets one back behind them. Then it's number 7, Stephen Andrew, coming into the place. At 22, making the big moves, Phil Sargent. Whether or not he can close up on second place, Troy Doran will just have to wait and see. This is what Bell loves. Being able to pace himself. He's pulled out a brilliant start. Knows he's got a long way to go. 20 laps is very physical, and it requires absolute perfect timing around here, not to put the wheel anywhere where it shouldn't be, and particularly when they get into lap riders. So Bell sitting there comfortably, the veteran of Supercross, reels off one more lap on the Honda, plate number 6. He goes down the back straight. You can see the visual gap. Then back to Troy Doran on plate number 3. Back behind him on 22 is Phil Sargent. Our American rider, Sean Kalos, getting a little closer to Sargent this time. And Sargent is still trying to work over on Troy Doran. That's the order. It remains unchanged as Bell appears to be running away with this one. The gap hasn't really opened first to second. But Bell has split-second timing on this racetrack. He's done it very, very well tonight. Under pressure, on every time he's been under pressure, he has been able to respond. Into the bottom turn, and he moves down the back straight. Still clear. Troy Doran in second. Back behind them, Phil Sargent. Sean Kalos is your next rider. Stephen Andrew, one back behind them. Kim Ashkenazi, one that's already gone down, just back behind Ashkenazi. And that's the first one to fall tonight in the final was Joel Elliott. But he picks himself up and continues on again. So no mayhem so far as Glenn Bell just reels them off lap after lap. Gap still the same back to Troy Doran. Phil Sargent is third, followed by Sean Kalos. Number 7 is Stephen Andrew on the Kawasaki. And back behind him is Kim Ashkenazi, who would know at this stage he has probably not much chance of winning this. His big hope was for Glenn Bell not to make the final, but even if he hadn't, Kim Ashkenazi couldn't win it with Bell out of the race from that far back in the field. Bell by about 4 bike lengths to Troy Doran, then further back to Phil Sargent. Sean Kalos has Stephen Andrew all over him, putting pressure on him. There he goes, up on the inside, Andrew. Takes one spot away from Sean Kalos. Good riding on Andrew's part. That will pull him up into 4th place and see whether or not he can pull in Phil Sargent from there. Bell's still clear. The gap at the back of the pack, 10 laps to go as they reach halfway. One with a spot of bother there was Stan Bergen, who got very much sideways and almost went over the top of the bars. And it is getting a little closer up at the front as they move on to the back straightaway. Glenn Bell, the order from Troy Doran, back to Phil Sargent. Then a long way back to Stephen Andrew, has Sean Kalos and Kim Ashkenazi right behind him. No dent in the armour of Glenn Bell at this stage. He is doing this very, very comfortably as he heads into the bottom corner with about 8 laps remaining. Over the tabletop on the front straightaway, still running clear of Troy Doran. A big gap developing, then back to Phil Sargent. Back behind them, Stephen Andrew gets a little closer as Sargent lands awkwardly. And here comes Stephen Andrew up on the inside and takes one spot so quickly that Sargent didn't know where he came from. Andrew has been the late bloomer in this field. Ran second in the 125 final tonight. And can he run second in the 250 final? Ashkenazi tied up there with a scrap with Sean Kalos, but he leaves Kalos and runs away from him, picking them up going back once again onto the back straight. Bell has almost got the length of the back straight clear of Troy Doran. Then about half that gap back to Stephen Andrew, followed then by Phil Sargent. Next is Kim Ashkenazi over Sean Kalos. That's the order. And the one who was really trying to put the long ones in is in fact Andrews, trying to close on Doran. Doran got close probably about 6 or 8 laps ago to Glenn Bell, but has been unable to get any closer since that spot. Glenn Bell on the Honda, doing it beautifully as he goes into the bottom corner. Troy Doran still running second. Back in third is Stephen Andrew, closing a bit, I believe, on Troy Doran. And Glenn Bell has shown no ill effects of the pace of this race. He's been able to set it comfortably. Andrew's lost a lot of ground there. He was making a gain, and in fact Ashkenazi is now up to fourth after a pretty average start from Ashkenazi. Back through, and he's gone. Glenn Bell has gone over. No pressure on him whatsoever. That has now put Troy Doran up into the lead. Second spot being held down now by Stephen Andrew. Third is Kim Ashkenazi coming through. There goes Ashkenazi, can't believe his eyes. At the same time, Phil Sargent gets back up. And there it was, all for Glenn Bell, out in front and leading comfortably. And it just happened so quickly. Under no real pressure, but he still has a lot of work to do. Troy Doran, plate number 3, is your race leader. Stephen Andrew runs in second spot. Third is Kim Ashkenazi on plate number 5. Next is Phil Sargent. They were then followed by Glenn Bell on plate number 6 and Sean Kalos on number K. They've ripped off 18 laps. Here comes the last lap now for Troy Doran. Beautifully in front. Second spot being held by Stephen Andrew, and third place at this stage by Kim Ashkenazi. Fourth spot by Phil Sargent, and fifth by Glenn Bell. Halfway down the back straight, it's almost checkered flag time as they come into the bottom corner, but here he comes, Troy Doran, and he is going to win it. Doran, the winner, just from Stephen Andrew. That's 1 and 2. Third place across the line will be Kim Ashkenazi on plate number 5.
Well, I guess it's all over again for 1993. In third placing, I think deserves a great big round of applause because this guy rode his absolute heart out. Put your hands together, the one and only Kim Ashkenazi. Well, mate, maybe next year.
Yeah, for sure, Bob. I got a terrible start there, but I tried my best. I know my mates come out to watch me, and well, sorry I didn't win for you guys. I tried my hardest. I don't know where I finished in the championship, but that's life, you know. I mean, I barely crashed, and that's racing, you know. But I just like to thank Peter Jackson and Phil Christensen for getting behind this series, because if it wasn't for them, this series wouldn't be off the ground, and us riders wouldn't be able to do this sport for a living. So I think a lot of our credit should go to those guys. My main sponsors are Team Suzuki, Puri Goggles, Axo Sport, SBS Brake Shoes, Silkland Lubricants, Technosol Products, and Service Plastics. Thank you very much.
Well, putting your hands together for him, Kim Ashkenazi. Seems to be the bridesmaid's day, however, that will change, I'm sure of it. There's a brand new horizon coming. In second place on the Kawasaki, number 7, Stephen Andrew.
I'd just like to thank everyone for turning up. It was a great night's racing, and I hope you really enjoyed it. And it'd be great if you get back here next year. I'd just like to thank my sponsors, Doyle & Shields Kawasaki, MC Mart, Dunlop Tyres, Finer Filters. I'd like to thank my dad and my brother Jason for giving me a hand. And big races like this where we're going out doing 20 laps, it's a pity the stewards don't let our mechanics and the pit boarders give us some signals, because it's pretty disappointing. Thank you.
Well, he said a mouthful. Stephen Andrew. And the boy with a smile all over his face has been waiting for a long time to collect this first place trophy. And he certainly has done it tonight. Number 3 from Victoria. Put your hands together for him, Troy Doran. Mate, that victory's sweet, isn't it?
Yeah, Bob, it's actually my first ever Supercross win. It's been a long time, but, you know, everything paying off, and gee, it feels good to win.
Well, I don't think anybody can deny you certainly have won it, and you won it in fine style this round.
Yeah, that's right, Bob. Trevor Brooks, who builds a track, didn't have a lot of time, but he's made something good to race on. And Spokes Promotions for putting on all these great events. Without people like that, we wouldn't have a job. I'd like to thank all my sponsors, especially Suzuki Australia. The bike's running really well. And MC Mart, Yokohama Tyres, Ranthol Bars, my mechanic Mark, my mum and dad for coming up supporting me, Lynn, and everyone else. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Well, he certainly has deserved. What about putting your hands together for him? Now, it wouldn't be an end unless we gave a series overall winner, the only man to have won it twice to still keep racing, and he has the Wings Over Australia award, which is his most brilliant painting of a Spitfire, and that man who has won it is the one and only Glenn Bell. Mate, when you were laying upside down there in that first turn, I thought, you're kidding. I wasn't the only one, was I?
No, you weren't. I saw him hold out a 10-lap board to go, and I knew I did about 5. I sort of took it a little bit easy going through these stutters here, and there's a big hole, the third one before the end, and sort of sent me over the bars and I grabbed a fistful of throttle and off over that berm at the end there and hit the brick wall. But anyway, that's racing, and everyone rode well. I had a hard time getting into the final, but I made it. And thanks all you spectators for coming out here. It's been great.
Well, there he is, the winner of the Peter Jackson Supercross Masters 1993, Glenn Bell. And Glenn, I know this will take pride and place. It's an extremely heavy painting. How about holding up so the whole crowd can have a look at it? Right above the head, Glenn, so everyone can have a look at it. Put your hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen, Glenn Bell.